Hi, everybody. This is the June 16th, 2021 UX Key Review. Thank you for joining me today. A reminder, please don't mention any customers during the Key Review. And then also we don't present. We just wait for folks to ask questions. So that is what I'll do now. It looks like, Sid, looks like you have the first question.
Yeah, thanks. I think I don't have anything about specifically UX. I think we're doing great. So I had some other top of mind stuff, and I didn't see any questions in there. Is that okay?
Fine with me. Thank you for asking.
Thanks. In the R&D weekly call, we discussed like, hey, we're going to assign designers according to kind of where, also keeping in the back of our mind where the usage is. And then we discussed that monitoring would be an area where there wasn't a ton of work, but at the same time, monitoring was something where we were concerned about the usage. We thought it was going up. I checked the numbers afterwards and it was going down, or it was staying stable. So the thought is, should designers also look at kind of, and maybe there already are, like how to unlock it or how to kind of drive people towards certain things. And it's not really designer work, but it feels like it's super hard to kind of market effectively in the product. I'll call a few other examples if you allow me. We have a few buttons that pop up when you have a repo, like, do you want to add this file? Do you want to add that file? And people keep saying like, oh, there's too many of them. But all our people internally are trying to add more of them because they work really well. We have in Enterprise Edition, when you don't have we don't pay for Ultimate. In every menu, it mentioned epics, even though you don't have them, and it's taking up space, even when you kind of dismissed it, you're trying to dismiss it. And people mention it as a reason not to run Enterprise Edition, but CE when they don't anticipate having a license, even though that makes it harder to kind of upgrade if they ever do get one. We want to start generating PQLs with the product qualified leads, but it is kind of, there's a lack of taste in how we do those promotions. They feel a bit ham-fisted. And when I think of taste, I think of you in the design department. That's what you're really good at. So how can we get those designers to kind of help out with that, kind of driving people to different parts of the product and kind of telling us like who might be a good person to reach out to, things like that, without the current problems where it's too repetitive, it's not contextual, and it's we're not being helpful to the end user.
Yeah, it's a good question and it's a hard question. So you're right. We try to be careful about striking the right balance because there is a balance to be struck between being legitimately helpful and annoying. And so we may be going too far on one side of that. And I always say we, I don't mean design necessarily, just kind of we as a product organization. You're right, Sid, that a customer request or user request, I should say, that we hear frequently is the ability to turn certain features off in the menu, because if they don't use them, they find them distracting. And you're right, doing so could really help with discoverability. We've been cautious about it because we also want to make sure that we are not negatively impacting product discovery and usage. And I don't think we quite know yet what the balance is between those two things. We've really relied on the growth team to help us with discovery experiments. And I think that's a lot of what you've seen with like the things popping up and whatnot. I don't know if they've done anything for that specifically around monitoring, but I know that's not really your question either. You're asking a bigger question, which is, in general, how can we do a better job of helping people discover important features? Valerie, let me pause and see. You may not have anything to add, but let me pause and see if you do. You're a little closer to some of this than I am.
I know that this has come up before it is something that we are interested in exploring. I think that our biggest challenge is figuring out how do we get designers to focus on it. So that's what I would like to work with you, Christy, is to figure out how do we get some dedicated attention on this from our designers. I would love for designers to be thinking more about end-to-end workflows, not be so, micro-focused on the individual feature that they might be adding or enhancing. And I think there's a lot of areas that we can do to improve that. Yeah, we'll have to think through how to actually address it.
Okay, that's fair. Sid, it sounds like you have some areas that are top of mind. You mentioned monitoring was one, but there may be some others. Could you iterate those, list them out for us, and that way we can start to explore this more?
Yeah, I think the EE thing is super near and dear to my heart, because that's really, we know that influences conversion, and we're making people very angry because we're messing up their menus, and it's I think that will be the thing to focus on. The other thing to focus on would be like, how do we kind of surface features to the user? I think we should have some guidelines, like do it one time. Like if you keep doing it, like that's not okay. It can't be permanently in the menu. And like about disabling features, I think we should also have some guidelines. I think they should say, we allow any end user in any project to disable anything they want. We're super liberal with that. It's just, we never allow someone to turn something off instance wide, because like, how can they know what functionality people want to do? So I'd love to see some clear guidelines so that people know what to do. Because I think it's a tricky area. It's a hard balance, and people are going to be under pressure to like increase this or that. And I think we should have and just like we have our stewardship promises, I think we should have our attention promises or distraction or messaging promises. We have some promises on how we email people and the frequency with which we email. I think there should be some kind of UI guidelines is too generic because we already have those, but I think we can do a better job of having some guidelines.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that you call out the difference between user level and instance level configuration. There's a really big difference between the two of those things. Anoop is here, so that's great. He's heard everything that I've heard. Between he, Valerie, and I, we can step away and work on this.
Yeah, I had one question. I'll write it down. Sid, what's the outcome that will make you see that these guidelines are actually delivering the value that you expect?
Yeah, I think in Scott, his words about this EE messing up the menus, burn it to the ground. So I think I want rapid action of removing that shit before it causes more collateral damage to our brand and the perception of EE. I think I want to see those kind of attention guidelines. And then I want to see the golden journey getting emphasized. We got to go create, verify, release, and the verify release thing is not going well. That's has lots of causes, and certainly not only design, and maybe, but that's the thing I think the company should focus on, because otherwise, when we don't have that, we don't unlock monitoring and everything else.
Okay, so I heard first is more just to, it's not, you didn't state the outcome. You're just saying that you don't want any complaints
have messed up menus in EE if you don't have a license. Like, we should stop annoying people there.
Well, that's to me activity, but what's the result you're going after? Are you saying that nobody in Twitter should ever say that EE is bad?
An increase in the ratio of EE to CE downloads. Thanks for asking.
Okay, okay, good. E to C downloads and then verify to release funnel improvement. Thank you. That helps a lot.
Yeah, thanks for asking that. I should have offered it, and thanks for asking again.
Yeah, thank you, Anoop. All right, I think that's the end of that. I don't see anything else in the agenda. Sid, we may come back to you with more questions if we have them.
I love that.
Cool. Navigation.
Yeah. I think right now on the main level of our menu, we have push rules for in a project. I think that's kind of weird. I think there's some improvements to be done to the project menu. I made a proposal a while ago. I wonder whether it's possible to test that. Eric, you wanna you put the link in and something about breakup and embed settings.
Yeah, just because we talked about it last night and I was going to talk to Christy about it. So it's advantageous is coming up here. So Sid has this proposal we currently have settings and analytics called out as top level nav items, which can be confusing. Sid's proposal is just to embed them in the various areas, which just makes it easier to do things like turn off an area that the customer may not have, and then all the settings disappear versus having to do it in two places or forgetting and not doing it. And then they see things that are confusing to them. And so the ask from him was could we test something like this and see if it's an effective suggestion?
I believe that we did, but don't quote me on that. Let me go back and find out and come back to you. And if we didn't, we can.
Awesome. Thanks for that. Eric?
Yeah, number 7, I just noticed TechWriter MR rate is dropping off, although not as bad as this chart appears due to style issue. So I was suggesting we change the status to attention and then, ask Susan, or Susan's here. I don't know if she already has ideas or if she's put on the spot something and take offline and figure out what's going on there.
No, I gave her a heads up that this would come up. She's ready. She's ready to talk.
Okay.
Yes, we've hired 2 new people. So our denominator has changed in the MR rate without contributing to the numerator. So also managers don't have as high an MR rate as technical writers, and we've hired a new manager. So we're keeping an eye on the number. It looks terrible there, and we're just going to watch it. We can change the status to attention.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it may be that because we need managers due to span of control limits. And so if the goal of 55 is no longer reasonable, given we added a less productive individual contributor type person, then feel free to make a proposal to lower the target to something that's still ambitious.
That's a really good point. Eric, would you be okay with us watching it for a short period of time to even see what that new target should be?
Sure.
And
I do want to call out that the docs, they look great, and I think they're getting better. You can kind of tell anything that the doc team touches is getting cleaned up and getting better compared to where we were a couple of years ago. So great work, Susan.
Thank you very much.
Susan's going to go throw herself a little party after this. I can feel it. Some great words.
And Meg has already captured an action item to change that in progress month to green, just so it makes all our trends look like they're going down, and we don't do that small stylistic thing. So he'll take care of that for you. And then the next one, 8, is retention. I happen to know that we're in a little bit of a dip right now because I have the context. The chart doesn't actually work. It links to some marketing hub thing, which looks like maybe some weird redirect in Sisense. Not sure what's going on there, but just figured maybe you could cover outline the actions. And if I'm comfortable just having our retention rate in the handbook, and I don't personally think it needs to be hidden for some reason unless I don't understand the legal or the people division's concerns. So just one vote for just having it in the handbook, not burying it.
And Meg, I know your team added this, so I'll let you speak to the link, and then I'll speak to retention.
Yes, is this the team member retention in the handbook, Eric? Because I believe it's pointing to the dashboard.
Let me see. Maybe it was a weird team member retention. Huh. Now it's doing something different. Strange. I did have to, the first time I clicked it, I did have to 2-factor auth in. I'm wondering if the redirect got lost through that process or something, but I'll see if I can recreate it. If not, forget about it. If I can, I'll let you know.
Thank you. We added a highlight, so if it comes again, please let us know. We'll jump on it. Thank you.
Cool.
Okay, so the real question you're asking is, what do we want to do about retention? What I'll say is that there are multiple different things that are contributing to the lower retention. Sorry, I want to think about how I want to talk about this. So we had some concerns with how one of our teams were working, and we are moving to a new model for how we do UX research, and we are hiring a team that is aligned with that model, which is an industry standard model. So we did experience some attrition, but we think that overall this is a positive thing, and we will all be pleased with the results of this transition. Some of it is due to performance management, and then some of it, I believe, is due to the fact that UX is a hot industry right now, and there is a ton of movement in UX. Salaries are going up, companies are hiring more UXers, and so it's a matter of keeping a close eye on our teams, making sure that we understand where they are, how they're feeling, managers closely managing, making sure the relationships are good. So I've got Adam and Valerie here though, and they can speak to each of those things. Was that enough information, or would you like to hear them talk a little bit more about it?
If there's something local to either product design or UXR or tech writing, I'm interested if there's more of a zoom in.
Yeah. Adam, did I capture everything for research, or is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I really think you captured it all, Christy. I'm trying to think if there's anything to add in this venue. I don't think at the moment, but if I change my mind, I'll jump in.
Cool. Valerie, do you have any thoughts on design?
I think you addressed it very well. I can say that I personally receive a ton of LinkedIn requests from recruiters. They are the same ones that my directs are also receiving. So I think you're right. I think that UX in particular, as well as pretty much every person at GitLab, I think is hot on everybody's list, and they would love to have anybody that works here. And we're seeing the effects of that.
Cool. We are hearing from first board members that it's just across the companies they survey, it's one of the hottest talent markets they can recall. So,
yep. I've been in contact with the head of design at GB, who is also confirmed, because I said, "Hey, gut check me here. Is this normal?" And she's like, "Yeah, this is what's happening right now."
Cool. Thanks for that.
Anyone else?
How about location diversity or regional diversity? That's one dimension where PM and UX both struggle with this one in particular, because it feels like things start to zoom into the Americas.
Yeah, we were doing better. There were so the location factor changes that happened at the last comp review did bring our number up. We are very focused on top of funnel, and we've got good location diversity, and some of the areas in which we've hired in the past now have higher location factors than they did previously.
Okay, so you think we'll be more effective recruiting in non-US regions after the location factor change that happened already?
I'm not, ask me that again, because I want to make sure I answer your question.
So it sounded like you were referencing kind of a location factor refactor, if that's not confusing enough, which had the net effect of bringing up some regions, the salary benchmark we pay in those regions. And it sounded like you were saying that you think that's going to make us more effective recruiting for UX roles in these other regions, the non-United States regions.
We're pretty effective with recruiting outside of the US. We've got a pretty good mix of US and non-US. The last time I looked, we were at about a 50-50 split. But some of the non-US areas in which we are heavily concentrated in UX, so Amsterdam is a good example, the location factor for those areas went up pretty dramatically in the last comp cycle. So that pulled, even for existing hires, pulled those numbers up. We have struggled to hire non-US for research in particular, but for tech writing and design, we do pretty well. Adam, please correct me if that's wrong, but I believe that's what we've seen.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Okay, so the one thing I would tweak is, you said it feels like we're doing pretty good. We've got a good split 50-50. I think that's true because I know how much hard work is going into it. But if we stand back, that 50-50 is like by far the worst blend, at least amongst the engineering departments. And we know that's because UX is a specialty that is kind of springing out of certain areas. And so the talent pool is concentrated in these places, but it just means we have to work that much harder to, they are out there. We've got great people in other places like Amsterdam and whatnot. We just have to spend more time looking for them and filling up that top of funnel.
Yeah, it is a consideration for every single hire. We actively make sure we are recruiting globally for every single hire. But
Yeah,
right, I don't know that we'll ever be equal to where development is just because of concentration of talent. I'm sorry, Valerie.
No, I interrupted, so apologies. Kind of another aspect of this is there are some qualified people in countries that we do not currently hire in. So that could help. So there are many countries on our list where we're kind of struggling to find, or regions even, to find candidates that are qualified because we have a high bar for people that we bring on at GitLab. But I see resumes that are submitted for countries that we just aren't able to hire in right now. And I would love to get that opened up, and that might help, as a way that we can get a little bit better in the diversity.
Okay, well, if you send me the list of specific countries you think that would be beneficial for you, Valerie, I know that Wendy and People Ops are working on that. I can just apply some pressures. Sometimes there's cases, well, let's do this one before that one. And if I let her know, hey, it's this list, she may be able to move up some of those in the timeline.
Thank you.
Sure.
I'm gonna stare and let people think for at least another 30 seconds in case you come up with anything.
Engineering budget plan versus actuals is out of date. It says we can't tell anything until we do FY22 budget planning, but we're already there. So I think it's just something that could use updating.
Meg, is that something that we've updated for the other groups? Can you help me with that? That's what I'm really asking.
Yes, absolutely. We'll capture this in the action items post this review.
Cool. Thank
The good news is it looks like I clicked through it and it looks like we're under budget. So yay. Just need to update the YAML.
Okay, if it's as simple as that, I may be able to do it myself. I will take a closer look. Meg, if I need your help, I will ask.
All right, well, I can stop this stream and the meeting if we're good. That was a great discussion.
Right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Have the rest of your day.